Got quite the coaching staff over there in Team Venezuela. There's a bunch of guys over there that were tough outs.
Including Cabrera, who's the hitting coach.
Yeah.
Victor Martinez, the assistant manager. The pitching coach is Johan Santana. Not just a star-studded lineup. Wow, this is interesting. Suarez had asked for time, had stepped out of the box, but the home plate umpire, Jeremy Rahap, didn't give it to him. So he was skating back into the box as that pitch came home and did well to stay alive still.
Wow, that was crazy. And great hand-eye coordination.
Wow. Miguel Cabrera, they say, is the loudest guy on the bench. Badly wants his country to win this thing. He played in the first 5 World Baseball Classics for Venezuela. 2-2. This is the 9th pitch to Suarez. And he takes it just low. Who is this guy?
There is Miguel Cabrera. My goodness. What an incredible hitter.
All started right here in Miami for him. A payoff pitch. Breaks in for strike 3. Nola wins the battle on the 10th pitch with that curveball.
If Nola, like I said, throws enough strikes with his fastball, this curveball becomes his weapon. He front doors the curveball, which means he buckles the right-handed hitter because it starts in and then just finishes in. And the hitter is always looking for that ball to break the other way out over the plate.
And he's right. That pitch is one of the best in the league. Comes home to Ezequiel Tovar. Starts him with a fastball for a strike. And against Mexico, Nola had the curveball working. He had misses on half of the swings against it. His pitching coach, Caleb Cotham, said after watching that game it was a Nola masterclass. Phillies fans, their staff, so excited what they saw as he tries to have a bounce-back year. 1-1 on Tovar.
Tovar's pretty good middle to down. He's got some weak spots up. It's a good matchup for him because Nola likes to keep the ball down, that two-seam sinker and then the curveball.
Tovar 6 out of 9 in this tournament. Swings and misses at that changeup for strike 2. It was Andres Jimenez who figured to at least split time with Tovar at the start of the tournament, but it's undeniable what Tovar's done. And he's in there in this winter go-home semi. 24-year-old Colorado Rocky. Takes in the dirt, 2-2. Said to Omar Lopez today, you've unlocked a beast here in Tovar. And Lopez very quickly said, no. The WBC has unlocked a beast in Tovar. Few of these guys elevated by the environment in here. Everything at stake. Got to have the right temperament, though, right? Because it's going to raise everybody through the roof. And Lopez said it's the guys with the calmer, steadier personalities that are thriving.
Yeah, because it's a unique tournament and there has so many different pressure points. The emotion you can play for and play with, you can sustain that in this tournament. You cannot sustain that in a long baseball season. And that's why you see everybody getting out of the dugout, doing everything they have to do, because they realize how important it is. And it might rub some people the wrong way until they realize this is not a normal tournament. It's bigger for other countries than anything else they ever play in.
Now the long AB here. Tovar chases. Strike 3. Back-to-back Ks for Nola on that curve.
Here's the other thing nobody talks about. When you lose getting to this point, it's like falling off of a cliff, because now you're like, oh, I got to go back and make my way back to my team. Not that you don't want to do that. You're on such an adrenaline high and you want to play to the end. I mean, no greater example than Team Japan. What do they fly? 15,000 miles or so for one game? Turn around. Now, For some of the stars in Major League Baseball, they didn't go back to Japan. They went back to their teams. But for the rest of them, they went back home.
Similar deal for Team Korea. Came here, got beat by the Dominicans in the quarterfinal. Ball on Gleyber Torres. Yeah, you have the emotional high of this tournament. It feels like Game 7 of the World Series a lot of nights. And then you go back, not just your big league team, but back to the end of spring training, where it's kind of in the doldrums, even if you're not coming off of this.
Yeah, you're saying, ugh. And then some of them are going to AAA or AA, and that's even a different scenario. So it's an experience they'll never forget, but it's one they want to last and get to the championship for sure.
Well, the good news is the real thing starts next week. Opening day across Major League Baseball Wednesday and Thursday next week. For Gleyber Torres, that'll be with the Detroit Tigers, his second season there. He's an all-star in his first year in Detroit. Bounced along third and foul. Torres had a great first half. Second half, not nearly as good, and it was like, what was going on? Well, it turns out he was fighting a bad injury and had to have a hernia surgery at the end of the year. Has that clear, and he's going to be back to what he did in that all-star first half. He led off for the American League in the all-star game as the starting second baseman. One of the 6 all-stars in this Venezuela lineup. On paper, huge advantage for Team Venezuela tonight. Stands in their way, though, is Aaron Nola, lone all-star for Team Italy. His payoff pitch is lined to left center field, and a base hit for Torres. 2-out single.
That one hung a little bit, and he stayed on it. Just gets it over the shortstop. Does a good job staying back. Keeps his hands back. Even if you get a little out in front, keep your hands back on a breaking ball. If you think right center on a breaking ball, you're going to pull it, but you'll have the right approach to hit that pitch.
Wilyer Abreu, one of the biggest heroes of this tournament. Skies the first pitch he sees into center field. It was Abreu that had the game-winning home run against Japan, but see, catching on in Italy, but a lot of that has to do with the proud Italian Americans that have latched onto this team. And here's the face of this group of Italian Americans, Vinny Pasquantino, who's from Richmond, Virginia, but as Tom Verducci told you, has become the captain, the heart and soul of this team, ringleader of all the fun they're having. He's just happy to get involved on the field, though, because he was doing all this stuff off of the field. But he was 0 for his first 12 going into the Mexico game when he turned it on in a big way with the first 3 home run game in Classic history.
Yeah, it was all in his plan, I think. You know, like take care of his teammates, and then when they needed him the most, he came through, and somebody else had to pass out the drinks and give the kisses.
On a 2-0 pitch, Pasquantino taps it past the mound. Not going to be an easy play. And the throw is in time. Just barely in time. Garcia gets him.
Of course, they were playing deep, and he had to come in and really make this transfer quick, and he did. Just gets the big lugging first baseman.
You know, he didn't just hit 3 home runs against Mexico. He had 2 stolen bases on Saturday against Puerto Rico, which was his total for the last 2.5 years with the Royals. DeZenzo lashes a line drive base hit into center. He said, "Espresso makes me fast." DeZenzo's on, and Jack Caglione's coming to the plate. He's the subject of our player profile, sponsored by AT&T. He's reminded folks in Kansas City why they drafted him where they did. 6th overall out of Florida a couple years back. Got to the majors, and it was a rough go of it. But he was having a great spring with Kansas City. He's come here to the WBC and shown off for Italy. 6'4", 250 pounds. Looks every bit of the part of a slugger.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always translate when you see somebody in there and their stance and like, man, they look hitterish. And he does right now. He looks hitterish, and you wonder how that will translate for him and his confidence moving forward.
Had to take a tremendous amount of confidence from going deep against Team USA. The biggest win in Italian baseball history. Even with that bad rookie year that he had, that included one of the longest home runs in Major League Baseball last year. He hit a ball 466 feet at Kauffman Stadium. That got out even there. Ball 3. He was a two-way guy at Florida, was Caglione. In fact, going in there, folks thought of him more highly as a pitcher than they did as a hitter. So then coach saw me take BP, and he's like, all right, maybe we should reconsider. I think you're going to hit 2. Led the country, 33 home runs in 2024. He's got a 4-pitch walk, and Italy's got something brewing here against Montero.
Italy can throw out a lot of left-handed hitters, so it'd be interesting to see how they take advantage of the righties and cash in on a situation like this. You don't get a ton of opportunities. You got to make the most of it.
Yeah, 6 left-handed hitters in this lineup, including the one coming up here. It's Andrew Fisher, another one of the young players with a bright future. First-round pick of the Brewers a couple years back, and one of the top third base prospects in the game. He's knocked in 5 in just 3 games in the WBC. Italy with the first chance in this game. First and second, one away. Montero deals. Fisher takes a strike. Just missed a grand slam against Puerto Rico. It looked like it for a moment that it was a grand slam, but the fan had reached over the fence and came a double. Action in the bullpen. Montero deals. 1-1. Fisher said he always wanted a shot to play for Team USA. He's from New Jersey. But at every level, no matter how hard he tried, no matter how many camps he went to, never got a chance. He said, I got a little chip on my shoulder about that. It's more than just being cool to play in the WBC. I'm mad that it's not for Team USA. Extra motivation suiting up for Italia. Ball 2. Just throughout the Classic, John, we've seen this patient bats.
No, they do not look at one bit overmatched. You might think, okay, don't know really a lot of them if you're tuning in going, yeah, I know they're got potential and they're prospects and there's a few major league. But, man, when you lock in and see their at-bats, especially the way they had against USA and Mexico, and we didn't get a chance to see most of the Puerto Rico game, but, man, tip of the hat. You just go, wow, there's a reason they're here.
Well, they look like a team playing with house money versus these baseball powers. There's so much pressure on a country like Venezuela or the United States to be good in this tournament. Nobody saw these guys coming. They've loaded the bases against Montero here in the second. A visit from Johan Santana, part of that star-studded coaching staff for Team Venezuela. Santana been coaching his son's JV team in Fort Myers, Florida. Been involved a little bit with the Mets through the years as an advisor. What a pitching coach. What a resource for a young staff. This looks like more of a motivational talk.
Yeah.
Anything strategic.
Well, I mean, it's interesting here. They got somebody up in the pen, and this probably is his last hitter, especially if he gives up a hit, I would think. But, you know, your job as a pitching coach is to come out and get them refocused after walking two batters in a row. And whatever they saw mechanically, you've got to give them that tip as well. Tell them to go back downhill and hit the target and maybe get that double play ball.
J.J. DeRazio, catcher for Italy, who didn't figure to see any time in this classic because Kyle Teal of the White Sox was the starting catcher, but Teal got hurt. DeRazio's come in and knocked in 3 in the quarterfinal.
He's been really good at the plate.
There's nowhere to put him, and Montero's having a hard time finding the strike zone. Same way they built rallies against Puerto Rico Saturday. Montero's 1-0. Ripped down the line. Foul. Nice catch down there.
Waiting for the bat boy to do what every team member do something well, and they show their jersey with their hands across it. Shows BP, EB, bat boy right there.
The 1-1, DeRazio almost got hit by it. DeRazio spent last year in A-ball, a little bit of time in Double-A in the Diamondback system. Now with the Angels. Single and 2 walks to load him up. Italy looking to crack through first. Takes a breaker for a strike, and it's 2-2.
That was a huge pitch right there to get back in the count now. 2-2. He has not had a good strike to ball ratio, especially in this inning.
Ripped down the line, foul.
And this pro-Venezuelan crowd wants to stay in the fight.
Montero could badly use a strikeout. His 2-2. Check swing, no swing, and the count is full.
Yeah, not even close. More elbows than anything else.
Here's the payoff, and he's walked in a run. Italy continues to be disciplined. Montero's missed the strike zone with 21 pitches. Italy's only chased 1 of them. A bases loaded walk from DeRazio scores the first run as DeZenzo steps on home. And that's going to be.
Whenever you're facing a team that's obviously not been favored in their last 3 or 4 games, and they have a really good starting pitcher on the mound, it gives that team a lot more confidence when they've got some breathing room. Look, the bullpen may not be as good as some of the other bullpens, but their offense is made up for it, and they put the ball in play.
That's what the Phillies farmhand Dante Nori does right here. Back to the top in Antonacci. Started this game with a strikeout. Antonacci, a White Sox farmhand. He homered against Team USA. 2 on and 2 out, and he takes ball 1.
You know, we don't see these very often, but man, if he were to drag a bunt towards the second baseman, there's no chance they could get him out. Lefty on lefty.
Not even in the picture there. 1-2. Chance for Sanchez to limit the damage. There goes the runner from first. Just outside. 2-2 and 2 in scoring position as Nori steals second.
Huge jump.
The 2-2 pitch. Count goes full.
This is the hitter he wants right now. I mean, a right-handed batter and Birdie coming up next.
With the run of major league hitters after Antonacci. On a payoff pitch. Fouls it off. We'll do it again. Italy playing in its first semifinal. Leading 2-0. Second and third, 2 out. Another 3-2 pitch. Antonacci stays alive.
They haven't trailed much either. It's been amazing.
Along first, that's a fair ball. Arise races to the bag and beats him. But the first 2 runs have scored, and they come from Team Italy, trying to pull off yet another upset and stop Venezuela.
Watching us play, okay, and they're expecting for us to win tonight, to celebrate and still happy for maybe about a week. So we're going to do our best to make sure we accomplish that goal.
Omar, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Joe, back to you.
It's William Contreras leading off this inning, 2 balls and 1 strike, and just think about that. Contrast what Team Italy's feeling. Nobody in the country watches baseball. I'm starting to, but there is no pressure for Team Italy. Team Venezuela feels like they're carrying an entire country.
Well, it's special to them, and they've seen their stars be developed and play, Hall of Famers. Not to mention it's 2 in the morning when this game started in Italy too. It's a little tougher to watch
over there. 3 balls and 1 strike on the all-star catcher Contreras of the Milwaukee Brewers. Nola throws, and Contreras takes ball 4, just barely down, and a leadoff walk. Well, here, John, is one of the best pieces of evidence how much talent there is in this Venezuela lineup. That Jackson Churrio's hitting 9th.
Yeah, if you want to know why the Milwaukee Brewers are having great seasons the last couple, just look at the WBC and some of the players that are having success for their teams, including Team USA.
Yeah, Bryce Farang has been a standout star for the Americans. Milwaukee with more players in the WBC than just about anybody. This kid right here, Jackson Churrio, just turned 22 years old, and he's already going into his 3rd year in the big leagues. Got an 0-1 from Nola. Churrio fouls it back, strike 2. Vitalizing Miguel Cabrera. Now he's got him as a hitting coach, and this guy is full of talent.
Yeah, and as soon as he learns to cut back a little bit of that chase, especially in this count with 2 strikes, expanding the zone, he's got an aggressive approach. There's a balance to the aggression and chase.
Pop up. Pasquantino at first. Churrio's the first out. Aaron Nola working on an 8th scoreless inning to start his time in the World Baseball Classic. Venezuela about to get another look at him. Up comes Ronald Acuna Jr.
He'll be ready on that first pitch.
Always is. Came back from the knee injury last year. Misses a year. Steps into the batter's box. Very first pitch that he sees. Hits 467 feet. Ahead 2-0.
He has a unique style in which, first of all, being young and strong, you can pull it off. But he carries that bat almost straight up. And you know how strong you got to be and how quick to the ball you are when you have this kind of style of hitting. And he won't be able to do it his whole career. But right now, that is electric quick. to generate that kind of power, your hands got to stay back. There's got to be that movement away from the ball, and then the barrel of the bat stays in that zone. That's why he has such electric pop to all parts of the field.
So much life to his game. The electric Acuna on 3-0 takes strike one. 8 years in the major leagues. Man, does time fly. Feels like he just got there as the 19-year-old. When he's been healthy, which has not been enough for how fun a player he is, but when he's been healthy, won Rookie of the Year. He's got an MVP with a one-of-a-kind season where he hit 41 home runs and he stole 73 bases. Even with all the injuries, the home runs and the stolen bases that he stacked up through 8 seasons, the only guys in baseball history that have done what he's done, Bobby and Barry Bonds and Alfonso Soriano, even though he's only played about 100 games a year. On a payoff pitch, Acuna takes strike 3. Breaking ball drops in and fools him.
From 3-0 to 3-2 to the backwards K in the scorebook. We don't see too many of those against the likes of Acuna. When he's got the count in his favor, 3-0, there's not a lot of good things that happens from pitchers.
Nola has his 3rd strikeout. Here's Michael Garcia. Bunt single his first time. Garcia, the Kansas City Royals, had his breakout season last year. Was not even in the opening day lineup. He hadn't hit very well at all his first 2 seasons in the majors. Kind of an afterthought to begin last year, but by the end of it, an all-star, a gold glove, and a new 5-year contract.
Got to get him out down below the zone. He commands the middle part of the strike zone very well for a young player. And a good off-speed hitter.
Omar Lopez is saying maybe more than anybody he's seen the environment here at the WBC elevate Garcia, who's hitting .450 now. On the ground to short for Antonacci. Shovels it off to Birdie. 3 more scoreless innings from Aaron. His dad's family immigrated from Italy after World War II. We asked Francisco today how Italian was the Cervelli household in Venezuela, and he closed his eyes and he said he kind of went back to as a kid. Sunday afternoons going to Grandma's house. He said, I can still smell the ragu. We'd have 50 Cervellis over there at Grandma's house every Sunday afternoon having the traditional Italian Sunday pasta lunch or dinner. Broken bat roller. What a pick there with a bare hand by Sanchez covering off of the feed from Arise to get Marcy.
Wow, that was a special play. That's hard to practice, let alone in spring training when pitchers' fundamentals, you got to get there and see the ball usually in your glove and the bag at the same time, but he barehands it. I can speak to what Cervelli was saying because that was how I grew up, in Sundays and parties at the grandmother's house and homemade Italian. You don't realize when you live like that, you don't eat Italian out very often. You just don't. You don't go to restaurants and order Italian when you've had it the authentic way.
You're spoiled, huh? Pasquantino here with 1 away, or with 2 away. 1-0 pitch, a strike. So he goes back to Grandma's Ragu. What is the dish for you?
Oh, the homemade spaghetti. The sauce that you can dip bread, you can have it like soup, is so good. And you know, my grandmother used to, and I just never could put on weight when I was young, and she would always be pushing the food and said, I could see your ribs. And you know, just the whole family oriented gathering is what you got used to doing all the time.
3-1 on Pasquantino. His dad's side of the family is from Italy. Grounds it foul. Pasta consumption, Tom Bertucci dug this up for us. Pasta consumption per capita by pounds. Venezuela's third in the world. Italy and Tunisia, the only countries where they eat more pasta. Pasquantino takes ball forward just off of the outside.
I will tell you this. Thanksgiving turkey's an appetizer.
Well, there's an estimated 5 million people living in Venezuela of Italian heritage. One of the largest concentrations in the world of people of Italian descent. Getting kept alive for Zenzo, who takes a strike. Venezuela means Little Venice. Italian explorers came to what is now Venezuela. They saw a village that was built on the water, reminded them of Venice. Zenzo singled his first time, ducks out of the way of this fastball. Count evens 1-1. Bottom of the order last inning. Got those 2 runs in, and it started with Zenzo's base hit. Cue shot. Inside the line and a rise. A wait for Zenzo. And the bottom of the third. To the fourth.